Alright guys, and the last of my cheap G-Shock clones. We've seen some Smells, some Skmees, some Sandas. Now we're going to look at Synoke, the worst of the bunch. Alright, so this is obviously a G-Shock clone, and we've already kind of been over this in the other videos. I don't like these big, bulky watches. I would never buy one of these big G-Shocks. I'm just not a big watch guy. And plus all these things sticking out to catch on things, just disaster waiting to happen for me. And we'll kind of compare it to the Smell, which you already saw the review on. You can see what a difference between the two of these as far as being able to read, being able to understand, and all that. The Smell is very easy to read. The Synoke is really, really dim. Let's see where the light is. Even with the light, it's darn near impossible to see. It's yes, the analog hands you can read, but they're really terrible, because there is no Loom on the dial. So in the dark, the Loom pretty much is worthless. They're not easy to read at all. This is very dark. I don't like that. I like a watch you can read quickly. This thing is so dim and so dark, it's just worthless to me. So yeah, so this is one version of the Synoke. It's built to that same quality though that the Smell is. When you look at it, it's got the same, kind of screw in back with the stainless, the big gigantic crown there. The buttons are big and gigantic. Those are just begging to catch on something and break. The straps are held in with these things, which I don't seem to be able to get to remove. I took in some pliers to them and they just seem to spin. So I think there's something going on there I just don't get. So I don't foresee being able to replace the band on this if it breaks. You may be able to. Maybe you'll have better luck. But I've just turned these in tournament. It just spins. Nothing seems to happen. So maybe I just don't get it. Accuracy. And this is the worst of any of them. This actually loses a couple seconds a day, both in analog and digital. So you're going to lose, 10, 20 minutes a year with this thing, which is the worst of the bunch. The Smell actually holds within like a second or so a day. So you're looking 5 minutes a year maybe. This one holds the worst. So obviously it's a really cheap movement in there as well. It did come with a screen protector. You have a nice kind of double metal clasp. The band is nice and flexible. Rather thick keeper for the strap. And yeah, so aside from the display just being awful on this, the glass is you can just feel it. It's a really cheap acrylic in there. I mean, it sounds like you're tapping on like one of those like plastic things that they put cookies in the bakery. So yeah, so I think this is an absolute nightmare for me. This is too big, too bulky, too much stuff sticking out to get caught on. It doesn't read well, and it's really dark. The light doesn't light it up enough, and you can't replace the bands. And yeah, everything is I don't like. Now, I kind of told you I really don't like the Smells, because of that. But at least this Smell, I can read it, and I can look at this and I know exactly what time it is. I look at this, and if you're I can't even tell what the time is unless I really stop to look. Now, I know Synoke makes all different kinds, and I'm sure Synoke makes one that's more bright like this. So yeah, so that is a possibility of eventually finding a Synoke. But as far as build quality, I'm going to say these things are built the same. It's that same quality you're going to get for a $10 watch. I think the Smell's a little tighter and a little better done. You can see the Synoke has all this weird hardware on it, and I don't know what they're doing with that. But I think of the two, I would definitely go with the Smell. I think the band is better. That textured band is nice, plus it's a little more rigid. And the buttons don't stick out as far. You can see that button sticks out a country mile versus those do not. Yeah, I like the Smell better. I like it better. I think it looks better. If I had to wear one of these, I would definitely wear the Smell. But yeah, I think the Synoke put a little too much into frills and making this look the part, But yeah, I mean, if there was a Synoke that had a better display, I would definitely consider it buying to try it out. But for this one here, it's a loser. And, I didn't even look at the model. What's the model number on this? 67356. So there's a lot of these. I mean, you got to remember, these G-Shock clones come in all different brands. There's probably 20 or 30 people making these, so it is kind of nice to be able for you guys to see them and see the differences between them and what to pay attention to. If you're really into it, you really want one of these clones, just to try it before you buy, before you invest the $200 into a good G-Shock, because this is a big watch, and that comfort level You know, but I think the things to pay attention to are the buttons and how the buttons protrude, because that's a big area that breaks watches, is catching this on something. And I think the display is big and important to look at. These Chinese ones with the darker displays just look awful. And then, of course, I think your band, you really need something that you're going to be happy with as far as the band. So this Synoke for me is a no-go. Smale, you know, like I said, I don't like it because of the watch being big, but as far as build quality, it's okay for the money. I would have no problem buying a Smale again. You know, it's Synoke. Yeah, I probably would, but I would definitely think twice and look at some of these things. You know, you can see that crown, how far out that crown is, that air in between the crown and the body that isn't there on the Smale. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot going on there. So, here you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed.